Hi everybody, it's Kathy here, and today we're here scrapping history one layout at a time, and this is a Scrap a Sketch creative team layout for today. I'm doing sketch number 140 from Lisa Sikorsky, and this is how it comes together. So pull up your materials and let's get started. We're going to scrap this page and we'll need two photos like this. We need some paper that we're going to use some fussy cutting elements out of to build our clusters. We're going to use a border that I or you already have available, and I have got that from a previous layout. I'm going to use two different base papers to build up this layout. So grab some materials, sit back, watch and have a go. First of all, I'm going to trim this down, and I'm using the grid here to guide me with that patchwork effect there. I have this border from a previous layout. It is 1 inch in width, and I have cut off two of the sides, and I'm just trimming them down now so that they fit onto this layout, and they are actually going to frame that square that I'm using here on the base. I love the yellow. Yellow is my favorite color. I don't often get to use it on a layout, but for this I have been able to. And I'm going to use the flowers off that one to fussy cut. So you can see them fussy cut there to the side. I have also gutted the middle of this yellow because I'm using it to mount my photos. And what I'm doing is I'm just distress inking the edge of all my papers to tie in the blues, so that matches my photos, and it also lifts all of those elements off that base and gives it some definition. And I am using some Uncharted Mariner to do that inking. I'm just going to run the dauber around the edge of the frames. I'm not going to distress them. I'm just inking the edge. And as I said, that's Uncharted Mariner. Oh my goodness, get it out there, Mrs. Price. All right, so what I'm doing next is I am prepping my base. So in order to prep the base, I have used double-sided tape around the edges of this base page, and I'm releasing it one bit at a time and then putting it on so that I have it nice and flat and not rippled or buckled, as you can see. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky, but generally if you do it one bit at a time, it falls down nicely. But you can see I didn't. I wasn't being very cautious, and that's what happens when you try to rush it. So I've had to lift it again just to make sure that it's sitting on that page nice and flat. And this is what happens sometimes when you use these flimsy papers. They sometimes buckle regardless of how careful you are. So I've made sure that that is now nice and flat and that it's not rippled. With the frame, once again, I'm also going to put that down nice and flat against that background. And Lisa's has a bigger frame around the outside for her sketch, but I'm just using mine here to go snug to the square. Now I am going to use a stamp to get the stitching of that Lisa has on her layout in her sketch. I'm going to stamp my stitching. Sometimes I doodle the faux stitching, but I'm going to give these stamps a run, and I'm going to give them a go and add the stitching to my layout through the stamping. You can just use a pen and do faux stitching as well. It does the same effect, but I like the fact that it will emulate also what is on that background page. You can see like that running stitch cross and vertical and horizontal in that quilted effect on that background paper. So it really does marry nicely in the fact that it's carrying the elements around the whole layout. Now this is a Scrap a Sketch design label layout for you. I am using Lisa's sketch 140 to create. You can find it on her Facebook group, which I will have down in my description below. You can see that she releases these every Friday. But at her www.scrapasketch.com premium site, you can purchase a membership which gives you access to a whole range of other sketches, plus beautiful printables and a new sketchbook which she has on the market. So please have a go and join that group, join her website, And don't forget to use my code KathyLovesScrap10 to get your discount on checkout for printables and sketchbook and stencils. So I have now got another piece of that yellow, which I'm using to double mount the photos, give it an offset and layer it up. That's another point of interest in a layout. And you can see the two photos at either side as per the sketch. I'm adding in some ephemera now to build up my clusters, and I am using these banners across the bottom. Here Lisa had journaling, so I'm using 2 tags here with titles, and I'm going to put the third one in which will hold my journaling on, and that's going to be my journaling down at the bottom of this layout. I'm going to tuck in the flowers to build the 2 clusters as per the sketch, and Lisa has designated the clusters with 2 in her layout design, but you can add more. You can build your clusters and bulk them up to suit your layout. What those are by Lisa's sketch are hints at what is possible. They are just a guide, and that's what sketches are all about, is just being a guide of a starting point and getting you to be creative to match your photos. So I'm tucking in all of these things to those clusters to build them up. I contemplate putting in that extra journaling tag, but then I don't do it in the end. I also have these sunglasses, which would fit the theme of the page because these were photos from when I was on my cruise, but I just don't like how they're sitting on the layout, so in the end I don't include them. And that's what it's about when you're using ephemera and building clusters. It's about playing with the things that you want to add and adding those that complement, not detract from your layout. I have found some puffy 3D thickers and stickers to create my title, which is my happy, and I have added in the date using a date stamper. To finish off, I'm going to add some shimmers here, and that's going to add a little bit of sparkle to those flowers so that they come up off that page. They're not just flat. That's a little handy trick to make those 2D flowers look a little bit more dimensional. I did find a flare that says, "Oh, happy day." It was a happy day. This was when I was on my cruise in November last year. And I'm going to add some pops of colour here to build out the rest of these clusters and to set up a visual triangle, because I add the third lot down here with the journaling. And I love pops of colour because you can actually then go in underneath and flick them, and that will give you like an enamel dot highlight. Now off screen, when I put this down to dry, my cat likes to come and help me, so she walked through it. So I ended up having pops of colour across the layout. So off screen I actually smeared extra pops of colour because of that smear that the cat set up, and when you see the final layout you will see how I've added, and it looks like a mixed meter smear across the page, and it sits. I had to hide the fact that the cat had actually smeared the pops of colour. But with the splatters up there in the top left-hand corner, it actually works on this layout. So you can see how quickly and easily this sketch came together. I want you to have a go. Click on the button at the bottom to go over to the Facebook page and see it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up to let YouTube know that you like what I've done. Check out www.scrappersketch.com for premium sketches, printables and stencils, and also access to Lisa's new book. I am on the design creative team. Check me out through the group, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my next recommended video for you, and happy scrapping till next time.